Getting out here, getting us running around, hitting each other again. Been a really good time. You know, we got a really good group, so it's been fun to get around them, building that relationship, that chemistry with the room and the group and the team. So it's been fun.
For guys like Rooster and LJ that were maybe kind of dog paddling a little bit early, what have you seen from them as they've come in from spring to fall?
Spring to fall has been a big time jump. You know, they had summer. We had some time with them in the summer, so it's been a great transition for those guys. They've done an unbelievable job. I couldn't be more proud of them, how they pick things up, how they fit into the room and the group. LJ's trying to be a leader, and Jaylan's been a leader in his way. So I really appreciate them guys, how they came in and they're ready to go, and they're taking the next step to help us be a great offense.
And then Camar, he was a guy that Coach Grizz kind of singled out, taking a step forward in summer workouts.
Yes.
I know kind of banged up his ankle the other day, but what have you seen from Camar, kind of building on what he was able to do last season?
Well, you're seeing the flashes. You're seeing the guy that, we went to recruit. He's a special young talent, still young, still got a lot of development to do, but he's doing an unbelievable job, fighting through toughness right now, right? Got the ankle. But before that, you were starting to see him come along and get into the player that he once was. And I think he's not far off from who he is. So I'm really proud of him. We just got to keep on pushing him. He's pushing himself. That's the good thing. He's pushing himself. He's taking accountability and doing those things and trying to be an overall great player. So I'm really proud of where he's at right now.
What have you seen from Wheaton so far?
Oh man, he's pretty talented. You see his burst, you see his speed. You see just his quickness that he has. He's about 205. He goes from 205 to 210. So he's a bigger back with speed and explosiveness. He's picking up the offense really well. He don't have many busts. I don't think he had any this whole camp. So it's just getting him back healthy. About a week ago, he had a little minor roll ankle, and just getting him back and just treatment and getting him back in the swing of things. But he's been really good so far. Obviously, got room to grow, being a young player. But I think he's going to be pretty talented and pretty special. He's going to fit into the room really well.
LJ is a guy, a little bigger guy. You expect him to kind of be a pounded guy. I think we talked about it in the spring, but the scrimmage the other day had a nice jump cut to the outside. How big is that these guys aren't one-dimensional, that they certainly have their strengths, but they can do a little bit of everything?
That's why they're here. I know one thing, me and the offensive staff coach last week when we talked in the offseason before we brought those guys in, we wanted to bring in guys that are explosive and brought something different to the table. Jaylan Knighton is different than LJ Johnson, and both of those guys are different than Camar Wheaton and Velen Gardner and Levine. So all of them bring something different to the table. I think it's a great bag of tricks that we have that we can. It don't matter who's out there. They bring something different, but they're all very good football players. And with LJ, man, he's very explosive. He's strong. He's tough. What people don't understand, he's a pounded guy, but he does have a good speed. I think he ran 4.42 coming out of high school in the 40. He might not have the top end, and I think he's working on that, but he definitely short area quickness and burst and that short area speed. I think he has it. So I see a lot of explosive plays coming from him.
What does Levine bring to the running back room?
He's the blood, he's the backbone, he's the glue. He's the rib of the room. He's the leader. He's our general. He keeps those guys together. He keeps them held accountable. And he also is a heck of a football player. He's a guy that we know we can count on, we can trust. He knows he can go in the game and execute at a very high level. He brings that toughness, that physical that we need and that we love. Because that's our calling card. We want to be physical. We want to be known to be a physical running back room. And he's the spirit of that. You know what I mean? So he's an unbelievable talent, great kid. He's very smart. He's very selfless, very unselfish. Guy that led the team last year. And we bring in two more guys that are highly talented guys, and you didn't hear him not one time complain. So just his, just bringing stability to the room. A guy that we trust, that we love, and that we know that in any moment he can get the job done.
What did you see from him in the spring? Obviously, still out recovering, but it seemed like he was very active in all of it. And how much can that maybe help a player to see the bigger picture sometimes and see that different view?
I think it helped him a great ways. He talked to me every day, man. I see what you guys be talking about. As coaches, when you're a player and you've seen it from a player standpoint, you really sometimes don't get it. So he took a step back and he took his mindset as a coach. He wanted to train himself as a coach off the field. So he stood back there. He had the script. So he was coaching those guys up. So it was good to see him just be an extra coach on the field. Now it translates for him and it helps him now that he's rolling with the offense now. He understands that what it takes to be an all-around player on and off the field, and just now he's just an extended coach on the field now for us, and it helps us in a great way.
Going back to Jaylan, what would you say his ceiling is, you think?
I think it's untapped, man. I think he has so much more in him. You know, he's 180 pounds right now. I think he can put on a little bit more weight. You know, he's probably pound for pound the toughest guy I have in my room. And, you know, Levine's tough as all get out, but pound for pound on this team, he's probably one of the toughest guys. So for him, he just got to keep on getting better, keep on sticking to his details and training. But he's an unbelievable talent. As you see, he's a one play away guy. You know, he's a very explosive. He's a guy at one play, he can be a touchdown. So I love how he's been more attention to detail this fall. He's been with me for a year, so he knows how we harp on details and being disciplined and being accountable. And he's been an unbelievable addition for us. And he's an unbelievable player. He's tough. He's physical. He runs hard. He has the elite speed. You know, he's very shifty in between the gaps. But the thing is that people don't understand his pass protection. He's very physical, and he understands the game, and he runs very hard. So I'm very impressed with him. I'm glad we have that guy. I'm glad he's here with us, and I can't wait to see him go.
5-star, 4-star, 4-star. Last year's returning rusher, Velton. That's 5 guys. There's one football out there. How do you try and evaluate how to spread the carries out and how to kind of rank them when you're going to have to finally put a depth chart together?
Well, when we put a depth chart together, they all understand that it's earned, not given. I think those guys did an unbelievable job of practicing hard, holding each other accountable, staying together. You know, everybody's going to have a role on this team. You know, they earn it, they're going to get it. You know, Jaylan Knighton and obviously L.J. Johnson and Velton has probably had, at this moment, probably the best count. And then you have, you know, Camar Wheaton who's coming along, and obviously you got Levine. I think those guys have created a brotherhood in the room, and they really don't care who gets the snaps and the carries. Obviously that might change when we get in live action, but as of right now, they just want us to win. You know, at the end of the day, it's a championship progress, and they know it's going to take more than one back, more than two back to get to where we're trying to go. You know what I mean? So I like their mentality right now. I like their mindset that they're sticking together, creating a brotherhood unit in there, and they just, you know, they stand together, they're unified, and I love that. But it's going to be competitive. They're very competitive. You can see, they know you get in there, you get your opportunity, you better capitalize on it, because if you don't, you know, the next guy's coming. I like to keep that edge in the room. I like to keep it that competitive, because you got to make sure you know that you got to handle business. You got to show up every day, right? You got to show up every day, be dependable, be accountable, and I think those guys is doing that. I think I can trust any guy to put in the game right now, and they can play winning football.
How big then is kind of that constant evaluation from you, Coach Lashley, Coach Woods, kind of everybody on the offensive side, to really be constantly watching to know kind of how that's going to work?
Yeah. Coach talk about it all the time. We cannot be complacent. We cannot get comfortable. So we have to continue to evaluate every day, every rep, you know, every minute. You know, so we got to make sure we holding these guys accountable. And also us as coaches, we know we're talented, so we got to make sure we're holding each other accountable as coaches. We got to make sure that we keep on pushing. You know, we cannot get complacent. We got to make sure we're getting ready for tomorrow's play. We can't worry about La Tech. We got to worry about the next rep, the next set, and just the next play, and make sure we're getting better. So I think as a staff on offense, we do a good job of just making sure we're keeping guys on the edge of their seats, right? And just make sure we just keep on pushing each other and pushing them, and they're pushing each other as well, because you got to keep the competitive level very high to be able to achieve what we're trying to achieve.